This is Lis Willis, your real-world correspondent for MadameNoire's Listen to Black Women Take to the Streets. And today we're going to talk about what it means to be a black woman in the workplace. You ready? So we are here in Battery Park. I am joined by
Stacy.
Hi, Stacy. Pleasure to meet you. Okay, so let's jump right into it. You've been at a job for a little while, a couple of shady emails, can I touch your hair, things like that, a little bit of passive aggression. Like, how do you know when it's time to leave a job and when a job has become an unhealthy situation? And furthermore, what would your advice be to someone who's dealing with that right now?
If you feel like you don't have a voice anymore, if you're scared to speak to your manager or the people in charge, you shouldn't feel like you should feel comfortable at work and able to express your concerns without there being any backlash. And if you feel like that keeps happening, then there are a lot of resources out there that you can look into. EEOC is one. Your local union is another. Talk to people. Of course, be careful about it because, unfortunately, retaliation is a thing. But just talk to people. You never know who's going through the same thing.
The moment you have to contemplate it, the moment you feel uncomfortable, you need to go. There are so many jobs out there that will respect you and appreciate you. The moment you tell your friend, hey, was this offensive? It was offensive, and leave right then. Oftentimes, people will continue to push our buttons and see how far they can get away with things with us. Stop it. If it doesn't stop, leave.
While you're in a process of you're thinking about leaving your job, it's always a smart idea to start branching out. Start making a plan, figure things out, talk to people, all those things. And of course, voice to your employer. And I mean, not everybody's so accepting about that, but at least say something, when you need to. And especially if it's coming close to that ending point, you're like, all right, it's time to move on from this job. Let them know, what went wrong and how they can improve their business, because it's one thing to be like, okay, you know what? F this situation, I'm out. But they're probably going to do that same thing to the next person who comes. So I think it's all about planning ahead of time and holding it through, but also talking to your friends after work, talk to your people after work. Yeah, decompressing so that you can go back into work and be like, okay, this is not permanent, and have an idea that this is not permanent. This is just a temporary stay, and I have something way better in my future.
How can we create a coalition amongst black women who may feel isolated or not safe in a white-dominated space?
I think it comes from just being attentive and reaching out. We're taught also, when we're in college, the way to exceed or the way to propel yourself is to look out for yourself, only, step on that person, what have you, especially here in New York City where it's all about being competitive. You know what I mean? But the way that I kind of think to kind of combat that and create that coalition is really pay attention to your neighbor, reach out to them, start the dialogue, start the conversation, and also include people that aren't women of color, include, people that could be allies to help us kind of start those conversations going, so that way it's not just like us, them, because we're all working together.
We just have to remember that we're all black women trying. So don't be afraid to talk to that sister that you see doing it. Hey, I want to be here. How can you help me, or things like that, because we're all trying.
In my experience, society has kind of cultivated this idea or this feeling of only a few of us can make it. So if it's not me, it's you. And then that kind of breeds this animosity towards each other.
So one person has to be that person that breaks that barrier, and the bigger person, so to speak. I just became the store manager for a job, and another black woman is an assistant manager there, and we piggyback off of each other, and we have created an alliance with each other, and work is amazing. So you see that black woman, do it. Speak to them. We're sisters. We should be supporting each other.
But what if it's just you? What if it's just you there? How do you feel like you can value yourself and have people respect you and your time and your worth when you're in a majority white space in the corporate world?
The thing about being the only black being in an office is that they're afraid of us. They're afraid of what to say. They're afraid of how to act around us. So they'll continue to do things to kind of see where they can see where they can get away with, right? They'll push us to see where they can get away with. We need to stand our ground always. Oftentimes, if we raise our voice or if we become too emotional, it'll come off the wrong way in those white spaces. But it is what it is. We just need to stay professional and keep that in mind. Like, they're trying me right now. Let me stay professional. Let me breathe in. We need to act with poise. My beautiful black women, we just have to act with poise and continue to remember we're bosses and we need to act like one.
Do you have any advice for a black woman who may want to suggest like raising her pay or to be paid more, to be valued more in the workplace?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can give advice. I'm also learning it still myself. One thing that I've noticed for sure is no one really teaches you in college or high school really how to stand up for yourself. And another thing I've noticed also is, as black women, we're usually taught like we're there to kind of support everybody around us, and we come last to some extent. So one thing I wish someone told me was, no one's really gonna do that for you. No one's going to speak up for you. No one's really going to stand up for you. Maybe there are some people, of course, there are outliers, but definitely don't be afraid to, look on Fishbowl, look on, Indeed, or look at what other people are making, and understand your worth. Like the women's U.S. team just won the World Cup, which is amazing. I think that's like their 4th or 5th time in a row, and yet they're still not making the same amount of money as the men's team. So it's really just about, A, like knowing what your worth is, and B, standing up for yourself, because we got to do it. And we got to look out for each other as well. So that's my advice.
And we're worth it.
And we're worth it, exactly.
So one thing that really stuck out to me today was knowing your worth. If you believe you deserve a pay raise, definitely ask for it, but have the receipts. Also, feel free to form an alliance with other fellow black women in your workplace community. And as always, if none of that works, feel empowered enough to leave the situation. This is Lis Willis, your real world correspondent for MadameNoire's Listen to Black Women Take to the Streets. Definitely subscribe to our channel. Let's continue this conversation down in the comments. Drop us a line, leave us some feedback, and let us know what you think about being a black woman in corporate America today. Until then, listen to Black Women. Bye.